Greetings, everyone, from Team 4. This week we have a pair of readings, Chapter 2 from Social Physics on Exploration, and Chapter 8 from Data Mining on Economic Deficits and Disasters. So, this week when we started getting into the exploration part, I have to admit that this section kind of gave me a little bit of trouble. I had to read several sections of the chapter a couple times. The section focused on data exploration by Alex Pentland, and he goes into a lot of theory regarding social exploration, about developing ideas, and I'm going to show some pictures here from the book a little bit, but he focuses a lot upon the development of ideas, how there is development between this isolationist view of things and then an echo chamber view of things and then a sweet spot that's between them. And in this isolationist view of developing ideas, you kind of stick to yourself, you just foster your own ideas, and you kind of are what you are. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got this echo chamber where everybody just borrows ideas from one another. Everything is so super social that there's really no original ideas that are coming out of anything. So, Alex Pentland, the author of Social Physics, he talked about this sweet spot where you have ideas, you bounce them off of other people, you kind of see what they think, you work on this diverse view of the issue to be able to develop your ideas. And part of the chapter, he focuses on an experiment that he held at MIT with a day trading program called eToro. And this eToro program allows day traders to view what kind of trades each other are making, kind of see how they're performing, but then it also allows people to receive a small commission if somebody copies your trade. And because it's day trading, you can see how the results of the trade happen. He was able to extrapolate millions of data points on this theory of isolationism versus borrowing ideas, and he created this chart. And in this chart, you've got this productivity level down at the bottom with the isolationist view, where the ideas don't really come about too well. But as you start to bounce ideas off of people, the productivity rises, and he was able to determine that in many ways it was a substantial increase in profitability for those that were day trading, up to the point where people all of a sudden were copying each other so much that it actually decreased the efficiency, and the ideas weren't original anymore. They were just copying each other, and you kind of got into this loop, and he calls it an echo chamber. In our other readings on data mining, Chapter 8 of Data Mining, that focused a lot upon the different types of online platforms that can be used. He goes on also and focuses upon being able to do something like Google AdWords or Facebook ads to be able to put out a poll. And he kind of talked a little bit about it the last presidential election, how you can see on the banners on the side of Facebook, how you can say, I vote Republican, or I vote Democrat, or I like this candidate, or I don't like this candidate. And just by people clicking on that, it records the general sentiment. And one of the strengths of Facebook is Facebook records the demographics of people. Your zip code, what your general interests are, male or female, your general age group, that kind of stuff. And so when people are clicking on these AdWords, they can kind of get a feel for how people are feeling about certain issues. And then there's another section in the data mining called Tweets of Crisis. And Tweets of Crisis kind of goes a little bit into the digital humanitarianism stuff that we've talked about previously, where you can use tweets and hashtags to you basically mine that information through computer algorithms to be able to determine where hotspots of issues are. If there's an earthquake happening here or there, or even more on a local issue where people just maybe complaining about traffic issues, for instance, you can use Twitter and hashtags to be able to keep track of where those are happening, what ideas are trending, and that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of, to kind of summarize on our readings this week, we talked a lot about exploring ideas and being able to develop ideas, and then being able to mine the social media platforms for different types of information. So the discussion takeaways that we have, the questions that we posed to the group this week, is first, how can we avoid an over-reliance upon our social networks, which leads us into a groupthink mentality? It becomes super easy for us to just kind of fall into that groupthink and just kind of rely upon other people's ideas. How do we preserve our own thoughts and ideas in there as we go to bounce them off of people? We get a feel for what people think, and as we incorporate other ideas and stuff into our thoughts, how do we preserve our own original ideas and avoid groupthink? Our second question, to what limit do we provide incentives in idea development to move people into that sweet spot without influencing the outcome in a negative way? Our third question, when using data to predict trends, do we over-rely upon extrapolation models and correlations for definitive answers? So, in the data mining example, or the data mining chapter, they used social media to kind of determine what people thought about certain issues. And at one point, they focused a lot on climate change and the IPCC model for anticipating what climate change is going to do in the next 50 or 100 years. But we take these extrapolations that go out decades, and then we tie them into correlations, what people are thinking now. And when you tie correlations into extrapolations, just how confident do we get in the results of those? So again, our questions: how do we avoid an over-reliance on social networks and groupthink mentality? To what limit do we provide incentives for idea development into the sweet spot without negatively influencing the outcomes? And when we use data to predict trends, do we over-rely on extrapolation models and correlations for definitive answers? So, anxious to hear what your thoughts are. Please feel free to share some of the things that you've learned, and we appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.